Matsu George, whether you're watching or listening to us from the provinces or in the capital city, Freetown on channel 33 or on DSTV channel 399. Welcome to Wake Up, Sierra Leone.
But of course, you can also watch us from across the globe. We are live on our app, AYV News, on channel 33 and also on DSTV channel 399.
Please stay with us because in the next 2 hours, we'll bring you news, views, and sports. We're broadcasting live from the top of Tower Hill in the heart of a city, Freetown.
Yes, and as part of the stories we shall be covering this morning, of course, the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists large will tomorrow commence its 2026 annual general meeting, scheduled to take place from the 11th of June to the 13th at the University of Makeni Auditorium in Makeni City in the northern region.
And the three-day gathering will be held under the theme Strengthening Sierra Leone's Economy through Responsible Journalism. We shall be discussing the build-up.
And of course, also as well, President Julius Maada Bio has expressed grave concern over the rampant culture of examination malpractice, stating that parents, teachers, and examination bodies are collectively undermining academic integrity. He declared that real success does not need leakage and urged an end to illegal camp, classes, or cheating, and many more. Of course, we shall be discussing ways to improve quality education in the country.
And President Julius Maada Bio yesterday officially commissioned the Regional Emergency Solar Power Intervention Project at Newton as part of government's 2030 electricity access target. But before that, let's get a quick message from our sponsor, Wakeup Commercial Bank, and other advertisers, and we shall be right back with you.
More and more people are using Wakeup SIM Copper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Ah, Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Wakeup SIM Copper.
Ah.
Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Wakeup SIM Copper Plus now. You can download the Wakeup SIM Copper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe, and reliable.
Sanika, go see some business partners.
You didn't give me memory, Michael. Can if I kiss I give me this people in not to in
Today you pay me money. I don't send it for let you help me send money in Ghana. 2 weeks now you not send me money and 10 you not give me back me money. Today, give me money.
You know ever sabi goodness in life. I dey send back your money, but trust me, today na the very last day I dey ever send money for now.
I don't need your help because I don't know so with Afri money. I dey able send money. Now Baku Africa countries them.
With Afri money, we dey able send money to over 10 African countries, whether it's Ghana, Gambia, Liberia, or Kenya. If me party we know this, we know for the party grammar right now.
Okay, una go regret. I mean now, una go regret.
The best part right now, Michael, with Afri money, you dey able send money even if you not use app, even if you know the online directly. All you need for do is just a dial *161#. Pam, your money don't go. So I don't need the help again. Thief man.
Thank you.
Send money to over 10 African countries instantly with Afri Money. No stress, no excuses. Just dial *161*1*6# now. Afri Money, quick and easy.
Every day feels better with peace of mind, and peace of mind starts with preparation. Unexpected moments can happen anytime, but with the right insurance, you're always one step ahead. At J-Man Insurance, we help you protect what matters most: your life, your family, your future. Don't wait for what if. Prepare for what's next. Get covered today and move forward with confidence.
Again, it's been a very crazy day. The joyous feeling in the air when rain falls on a sunny day.
Happy, yeah. Let the stars, let the roll.
Enjoy life's little pleasures with Maltina. Maltina. Share happiness.
As a man, I always want waiting best for me picking them, especially when it comes up waiting them for eat and drink. Now this make I always they choose Sarah juice because they make come from with local foods them and nutritious and it gets less sugar than the other drinks them. Not to me say so.
We lab test show say Sierra juice gets 50% less sugar than the other drinks them na the market.
Because we mama they know waiting best for we picking them, now you make we always they choose Sierra juice. Sierra juice is nutritious, it's healthy and it's sweet. Sierra juice na the taste of Salone.
Fellow Sierra Leoneans, on 8th August 2024, Statutory Instrument Number 8 of 2024 regarding the conduct of nationwide population and housing census was successfully laid in Parliament. On 29th August 2024, this statutory instrument became effective following 21 days from its laying. Therefore, in line with the decennial census calendar, I am pleased to announce that my government will conduct a nationwide population and housing census.
It's 2026, we dey get with census. Make all man tell him family responsibility for bring development. Make all man tell him family from the east to the west, blah blah blah. From the north to the south, blah blah. No matter how you dare or you try, blah blah blah. Motoka, mama or papa, blah blah blah. One picking on grandpa, blah blah blah. Auntie or uncle, blah blah blah. Motibe, let them come to you. Yeah, one people, one nation. Let them come to you. Yeah, now we know back up in Salone. Let them come to you. Yeah, no person say you not here. Let them come to you. show me your address. For make you go join now the plan. The census go make you get the access. For make you go vote now this land. Let the all you. If you don't want make them country again, make them creep you. Cause this time you're salon for us.
See what you better say, Kekabo Aduo. We bring good news, salon people every year. Census don't come again. We ready for control, sky from the young to the old. Say the census go help make development day. Allow me then continue until you know go pay. It go help plan more schools, hospital and lights, even water for you community. Who say you there?
They call to you, yeah. One people, one nation. They call to you, yeah. Now we number go build salon. They call to you, yeah. No person say you not here. They call to you, yeah. They don't call to you, yeah.
Census they come, the other we cooperate. Tell mama and papa, then get for country all, the make we all ready. Census go help for make we know we serve, and who's how we stand. If you claim say you love salon, we say development day, na day you for day.
Yambo tegina, mimbo tegina, mingo teteke biambe. Got 2026 census na me right, census na you right. Family. Imagine if they count everybody, they left you out.
Amulemba kotumobawa, uvoka kufuninge sagbele tuwa. Tonya, ye amubuji hule panda. Wabulo le tabawa bayaganga. Ye tumubawa mudagbe behave. Comment ya go salon bate mukweleva. Nabi yina na metabawa na. Yo mama kome kolabo gonya delega. Ina.
Kakotone dim ding dang, dim ding dang, dim ding dang. Katsap katsa tinga be katsa konkal, anga be katsa banganda yer. Abageto bagats, aindo gor. Agalene, zamojamu, agatsamu, zarenzamu. Donye, mama marita kangonsu.
Ame ya timi wandi, timi wandi. Ame ya timi wandi, timi wandi. Mwa kongo tami wandi, ungewa menda milwena wo. Ya kongo tabi wandi, ungeba handa bebe holo.
From this to west, blama blama. From the north to the south, blama. No matter how you dare or you try, blama blama. You want to go, mama or papa, blama blama. One picking or grandpa, blama blama. Auntie or uncle, blama blama. Motibe may they call to you, yeah. One people, one nation, may they call to you, yeah. Now we number go build salon, may they call to you, yeah. No person say you not here, may they call to you, yeah. May they call to you, yeah.
Welcome back. A reminder, this is Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV TV and radio here in Freetown. Now, to our first segment this morning in the studio. The Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, SLAJ, tomorrow will commence its 2026 annual general meeting, scheduled to take place from June 11th to June 13th, 2026 at the University of Makeni Auditorium in Freetown. Of course, that will be happening at the northern region in Makeni. The three-day gathering will be held under the theme Strengthening Sierra Leone's Economy Through Responsible Journalism. And at the AGM, members of the association, SLAJ, will deliberate on several key matters affecting the organization and the media landscape in Sierra Leone. Among the issues listed for discussion is the reading of the notice convening the meeting, consideration of the audited financial statement, and also for the statement for the end of year that ended March 31st, 2026, and the auditor's report. The association also disclosed that members will receive and consider the President's report for the 2025-2026 period, as well as reports from MSC's representatives to boards, affiliate bodies, and regional executives. The meeting will also include the appointment of auditors and deliberations on other matters brought before the Assembly.
As part of the special business for the event, these large IMC National Media Awards will also form part of their activities during the annual general meeting. So this morning, to discuss about the AGM and how SLAJ prepares for the 2028 general elections, we have Edward Faramara, National Secretary General, Sierra Leone Association of Journalists. Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Sierra Leone.
Yeah, good morning and thanks for having me.
Are you excited?
Really I'm excited.
So this year's theme for the AGM is strengthening Sierra Leone's economy through responsible journalism. How exactly can journalism strengthen Sierra Leone's economy in a country where we have high unemployment at the moment, inflation, very limited investment, and the like?
Well, this is one of the most interesting themes we've decided to come up with. For the fact that as a country, we know the global crisis, economic crisis, and not much has been reported on that by journalists in Sierra Leone, for the simple fact that not many journalists are interested in economic reporting. What this current executive intend doing is to diversify journalism. We want to diversify journalism, we want journalism to be more attractive, and we want to ensure that journalists are trained on specialized areas. So economic reporting is one of the key areas, and what this team is trying to bring out is the fact that we want our members to know and understand that the economy of the states is key and that we have a role to play. For example, we are also part of the governance of the state, and then if journalists cannot properly report on economic issues, obviously it's going to be a challenge for even the government and our development partners. You know, government is working with multinational and international partners like the World Bank, IMF. Every year they come, they do assessments, they come up with their reports, but not every journalist is knowledgeable of some of these reports and how they could go delve into it, do thorough investigations, come up with a credible report that will inform the public. So we want to use this opportunity, for journalists to understand that economic reporting also is key because it deals with data, it deals with figures, it deals with statistics. And then we have decided, to bring in experts in economic analysis, economic players on the markets, like the managing director of UBA, Alhaji Mohammed Sambora, who will be our keynote speaker. He will be coming in to properly, speak on the topic for a clear understanding. And beyond that, what we intend to do is to also ensure that journalists are now more focused on specialized areas like environmental reporting, gender issues, climate change, health, parliamentary reporting, court reporting, security, corruption, and governance issues. Because if you look at the media in Sierra Leone, journalists want to report on everything. In some countries, you have to be specialized on areas. If you are a sports journalist, you're a sports journalist because that's where you are trained, you are groomed, you understand the language of reporting sports. Sports has its own technical language in terms of reporting. If you want to report on security issues, you have to be grounded on security issues. If you want to report on health, you have to be grounded on health issues. Education, tourism, climate change that we are battling with, all of these issues, we want journalists now to take up the responsibility to say, okay, I want to stand up. As Edo Mara, I want to be more focused now on reporting on climate change or environmental issues. Like I'm sitting there, I'm more specialized on, corruption issue reporting, because if we build a media empire in Sierra Leone, focusing on specialized areas and we diversified, obviously the people of Sierra Leone will be able to will benefit from the work we are doing. So to answer to your question, I think this is the right moment because we have never focused on the economy over the years, and so this gives us now an opportunity for us to go back at AGM to discuss issues of the economy, because even the government, the last time we had a meeting with the government, with the Minister of Finance, the government is also concerned that the media is not reporting much on the economy. And even the current global economic crisis, not much has been reported. But if you go to the international media, a lot is happening. IMF just concluded.
Why do you think that's the case?
Well, it's basically because of whether lack of interest or because of journalists think that it takes a lot of time. Because if you are talking about reporting on the economy, obviously you have to do a lot of investigations. You have to go in for the data. You have to go in for statistics. You have to go in for figures. Because these are areas you don't just report on them. It deals with figures, statistics, and data. And if you cannot access those data, and if you don't know how to access those data, obviously you will not be able to report on them. So basically, some think that, it's time consuming if I want to be reporting on the economy, because I have to go extra mile. I have to check the file. I have to talk to the economist. I have to talk to the Minister of Finance. I have to talk to World Bank. I have to talk to the IMF. Currently, as I sit here, from Slack record, we only have one specialized trained journalist that is trained on economic reporting, financial reporting, and she's traveling all over the world at the moment because IMF conference, they need her to be there. World Bank, they invite her. Minister of Finance, if they have any international conference, they took her along because she just chose to go and specialize on economic reporting. So she's traveling all over the world. So she's alone. So want more of Zainab Joki.
Does SLAJ have a kind of collaboration with government institutions and some of the institutions that are supposed to make these information available? Does SLAJ have any collaboration with these institutions? Because one thing we faced in Sierra Leone, the other day, what's this guy's name? He was here, some guy that reports on stuff about the judiciary and like, I forgot Fatoma.
Yeah.
And he was complaining about how difficult it was to even have access to some of the some information that you wouldn't think should be a problem. So what is SLAJ doing to help the work of journalists who might be interested in actually seeking for these data? But they simply cannot get access to them because those who are in the position to ensure that they have access to them are not willing to let this information out.
Yeah, recently we just concluded a training program for female journalists, 70 of them. We trained them on budget reporting, and that training took us across the country. We had Freetown, we had one section in Makeni for the Northern Province, we had one in Bo for the Southern Province and Kenema. The whole idea is for them, women are very good in economic management, and we want to target the female journalists because we know they are very good, and when they are trained in terms of how they can manage data, they can manage statistics, they can manage the figures, and obviously they'll be able to do a better job. So we use Zainab Joki as a case study, that a lady that has excelled herself, more focusing on the economy, leaving out health reporting, gender issues, agriculture, environmental issues, court reporting. She chose to just focus on the economy, and she has been able to make a mark. So the reason we did that training together with a Budget Advocacy Network is for female journalists to be empowered, because that will help them not only to report to the newsroom, but again to manage their homes. So that training came out very successfully, and what we're trying to encourage them now is to just continue in doing what they have been taught. And again, we had the opportunity at that time. Many of the information we are looking for, they are just in our phones. Right now, if you go to the Minister of Finance websites, every budget allocation, every disbursement, every report from IMF, World Bank, they are all there. But because we don't have time, or because we don't have the knowledge that if you want to have, issues of economy, statistics, data, government budget allocation for ministry, departments, and agencies, including the local councils, just go to their website. Everything is there. So it was an eye-opener for many of them. They say, oh, we didn't know that we had this kind of opportunity. Sometimes we struggle to get some of this information. But it's by law, because the Minister of Finance is also compelled by the IMF and World Bank as one of the criteria that every disbursement, every allocation should be posted in their website, because it's a public document and people have the right to have access to those documents. So it's not a secret. But because we don't have time, and that's the more reason we are encouraging colleagues, let's make use of our phones with the new media. Just go to those websites and get the facts. And so during this conference, I'm sure the experts will come and he will deliver his speech. And I hope we'll take advantage of this to learn from this moving forward.
In this theme, there are two peculiar words. You said strengthening Sierra Leone's economy through responsible journalism. When you say responsible journalism in this context, what do you mean?
A responsible journalist, you have to deal with facts. Your stories must be credible. You don't have to be misinformed. You don't have to use sentiment. You don't have to be carried away. You don't have to use a political lens to get a story out. Let me give you an example. This was years gone by from history, that a government delegation was set to go and negotiate for a loan on behalf of Sierra Leone. And at that time, this was around the 70s. One of the prominent, most aggressive journalists by then wrote a very nasty articles about the government of Sierra Leone, how they are misusing resources, funds, and all that. And so when they went for IMF meeting, and the government delegation were trying to make a case for Sierra Leone on behalf of Sierra Leone. And after explaining, when the head of IMF was responding, what they did was just to draw the articles. And they said, this is the newspaper we got from Sierra Leone. And you are coming here now to beg. And this is what your country media is saying. So responsibility there, you are destroying your country with lies, and because you think you are going after somebody. What we want to see in the 21st century with the new media, journalists are not bloggers. We are trained, professional journalists. So we are different from the bloggers. Get your stories verified. Get the facts before coming out. You don't have to be in haste because you want the story to go out.
So this begs the question. Let's assume that the contents that particular journalist wrote in his newspapers were facts indeed. Let's assume, for argument's sake, they were facts. But these facts are not put in the country in the best light. And it's nothing to write home about. Would you say if these were facts, in an instance where these were actual things happening, but these are not good things, would you say writing about it or publishing it wasn't responsible journalism as well?
It was not. It's not about writing it. It's not about publishing it. It's about getting the fact.
Okay, so if it was fact...
if it was fact, I mean, when you read the story, you get the fact. There's no need for you to question those facts.
So what did IMC do about it?
No, this was before the establishment of the IMC.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, this was a long time ago, in the 70s. Okay. I'm just trying to bring out history. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
But we've gone far beyond that. The reality is a lot has been achieved, within the media landscape. 27 years ago, when some of us start to practice journalism, the environment was hostile then. Even to investigate a story is a challenge. And sometimes even to have access to the information is a challenge. And we had this draconian law, the seditious libel law, and which tells you that the more the truth, the more the libel. So you see how endangered we are, but things have changed. So with the 21st century, with the new media, journalists can effectively use the new media to get the facts out.
Talking about the seditious libel law, well, of course, it has been removed.
Yeah.
But then don't you think many people see it as though it has been replaced by the cyber law?
Yeah.
So what difference does it make? Because many people do consider the cyber even worse off than the seditious.
Yes, well, it will be it will be a discussion another day, but I will want to briefly comment on that. If you look at the cyber law, section 44(2), that's the area we have problem with, that talks about cyber bullying, cyber stalking. In our own view, journalists should not be arrested for publishing the stories, sharing it on social media, because we are not bloggers, we are trained journalists. And if a journalist, for example, AYV do a program now, they are online also, they share it online. You cannot bring AYV for cyber stalking or cyber bullying on that particular story. We are being regulated by the IMC, a body established by Parliament. So in all of this, what we continue to appeal to the government, let's allow state institutions to perform their function. If the IMC is created to regulate the media, let's allow them to do their work. Journalists will not be reported to the CID.
So beyond just...
Because CID, they are not professional to determine if a story is factual or not.
So beyond just advocating and pushing and begging government to allow media institutions and media practitioners to do their work, what more has Sludge done to ensure that this is actually implemented? Because the law is the law.
Yeah, we are calling for a review, and we've done a lot of engagements with the government, the Attorney General and the Inspector General of Police. In fact, we've had an MOU now with the police that every issue now that has to do with journalists should be referred to IMC and not to CID. So now there is an MOU on that, and the IG is so committed to that. And since we had the MOU, we've not had instances where a journalist has been invited to the CID for merely publishing a story or merely broadcasting a story. But let me say this. Beyond that, what we are doing right now, we've already submitted our own position to the Constitutional Review Committee. Under Justice Kawan, we did come out with our position on the issue of having a standalone chapter. If you go to Kenya, for example, they have two standalone chapters. One speaks to the right of information, and the one also speaks to freedom of expression. So we are not asking much, but we are saying we want a standalone chapter that will guarantee freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And when we talk about freedom of speech, freedom of expression, it's not about journalism. So if we want our democracy to flourish, we want our democracy to grow, people should be given a voice. People should be allowed to speak out their voice. People should not be denied bringing out their voices when it comes about governance issues. But if we have a standalone chapter in the new constitution, which we have submitted our position to the Attorney General, and I must say the Attorney General has expressed interest in our position, that yes, we have a point. And Sludge is doing this not for the media alone, but for the people of Sierra Leone. Freedom of speech is a fundamental human right. Freedom of expression is a fundamental human right. The United Convention on the right to information, the freedom of expression, these are rights you cannot trample upon. And government of Sierra Leone is a signatory to some of these international treaties. And we have to be responsible enough. The world is now a global village. When you go to international conferences, United Nations General Assembly, you pen down your signatories to some of these treaties. We have to respect those treaties. So what we are saying, having a standalone chapter in the Constitution will not only protect the journalists, but it will protect the citizens of Sierra Leone, and particularly also the politicians, because these are the ones sometimes you see them, like the cyber law that we are talking about. When the act was drafted and we are trying to review it, we came up with our own concern. And by then, nobody joined us with the fight. And they say, oh no, Sludge is just making noise. They are not the only body that should be speaking up to some of these topics. But at the end of the day, the politicians thought at the time that, no, this was just a something for Sludge. They didn't know that the law, when it comes to, it's been passed into Parliament, obviously it becomes law, and every citizen will not be subjected to that law. And when it goes to Parliament, The first people that fall in with, they were trapping was the politicians. You remember, Kemosise was the first politician to be charged, for cyber. Arrested and detained for cyber. But these are the very politicians. They were sitting down while we are advocating that this is a bad law. Let's come together and say, it could be reviewed, before being taken to Parliament and eventually being enacted by Parliament. But they deny us. They never listened to us. And now that's the price the politicians are not paying. And that's the price citizens are not paying for. Cyberbullying, cyberstalking, for example, if a journalist send a text message to the chief minister, Professor Francis, the former chief minister, and this journalist was trying to seek for clarifications to get the minister's own side of the story that he was
best practice.
Yes, he was investigating. And because the cyber law says that if I sent you a text, you didn't reply me, I send it for the second time, then I'm trying to stalk you. And you can go to the CID and make a complaint. And the chief minister, what he did is just to inform the CID that somebody is trying to disturb me. And the journalist was arrested and detained. So you imagine that, how that undermines press freedom, how that undermines the right to access information.
And that is still the law.
And that's still the law. So why did that now is becoming a deterrent for journalists not to go into much investigations when it comes about public officials and even individuals. You remember the case of Leone. A journalist published a story. The newspaper was shared on the social media. Before Leone could go to IMC to make a formal complaint, what they did is to go to the CID. And Thomas Dixon was invited by the CID. On the question saying, it was a cyberbullying. Is that cyberbullying? A story being verified, credibly investigated, published with fact, and because it was shared on the social media, and when they ignored the IMC. And we are there at this CID. I made the point very clear that the CID is not competent to investigate issues of the media, whether the story is factual, whether a story is libelous, whether the story is not credible. They don't have the expertise. The people that have the expertise is the IMC. That's where we have the people with high caliber that have served in the media, that knows the media. They even have a committee, a complaint committee. For God's sake, if you feel that a journalist have written something about you, you feel dissatisfied, go to the IMC. There's a complaint department. They will investigate the journalist. They will bring the journalist to book. I have been taken to IMC several times. I've won 4 cases at the IMC because I know what I'm doing. I always go to my fact. But again, even at the IMC, they are doing fine. But again, even the IMC law needs to be reviewed. Because sometimes, for instances, I've won cases at the IMC, but I was not compensated for that. But if a member of the public won a case against me, obviously I will be fined. I will be asked to retract the story. I will be asked to write an apology to the individual. So you see how we have been treated. We have not been treated fairly. So moving forward, we are ready to work with state institutions in modernizing our laws with best international practice. But at the same time, we have a responsibility as journalists to serve our people. And nobody will deny us that. Nobody will stand in our way of informing, educating, and entertaining our people. But because that's our primary responsibility.
Edward, this year's theme is strengthening Sierra Leone's economy through responsible journalism. This current SLAJ administration campaigned heavily on the backs of, the welfare for journalists. You're holding an AGM of sort. One would assume that, the first topic would have been, how would SLAJ look into the welfare of journalists? We keep saying media poverty. The ordinary journalists are poor as compared to media owners, or even journalists as compared to other professions like lawyers, doctors. And you're having an AGM, talking about how journalists should be responsible, to report economic issues when journalists themselves are poor.
You know, I wish you'd be at the AGM, but I'm sure next year you'll be there. And I can assure you that.
You sure or you hope?
All of you, I hope. No, obviously, I'm sure, because, I mean, you guys have to obviously come in.
Okay.
You know, September, the forms will be out. These are the issues we're going to be discussing. You know, we have an agenda. And when we get to the AGM, there are issues that will be discussed technical committee level and also at the main session. So this one, the one we are talking about, this will just say an opening day where our partners, government functionary, international donors, diplomatic community will be invited. We do the opening. After the opening session, for the next 2 days, we'll be discussing some of these issues. But to answer your question, we've gone far in that. We've worked with the CLO reporters, you know. And by the way, the reason why we formed the reporters, you know, because I'm a founding member of reporters, you know, in 2005 when we formed the reporters, you know. The whole idea is for reporters themselves to be able to, agitate for their own welfare. You know, media owners all over, it's difficult, you understand, to really provide a better salary. I'm a victim, and that was the reason we came up, myself, John Bimba, other Rachel, other guys, you know, we set Tanu Jallo and many other fellow colleagues at the time. But Reporters Union have grown, and they are now working now with the Minister of Labour together with SLAG for a bargaining certificate. Once the ministry offer that, they can use that now to bargain with any media institutions or management. In fact, for example now, if the AYV, if the AYV is paying below the minimum wage, which is 1,200, the Reporters Union can sue AYV.
Edward, I'm imagining, why do we have to wait for that when it has been passed into law, it is approved, and SLAG journalists are the very propagators of the news that the minimum wage has moved now from 800 to 1,200, and media houses are not paying journalists the minimum wage. It has been approved. It is now law into effect since the 30th of or the 31st of April, and media institutions have still not yet finalized and started paying journalists 1,200 in an economy where.
Well, I don't want you to generalize it. Say some media houses are paying below the minimum wage. I can assure you that if we receive such a complaint from journalists, we'll take it up. The reason is colleagues don't speak up.
Because they're scared of losing their jobs.
No, but again, we have to be clear on this. Because, like I said, we have done many investigations on some of these issues. Sometimes some journalists, for example, if they come to informants media, they say, "Hey, Panoma, just work for you no more." You understand? You can't trade your profession that way. Some go work for those institutions without no employment letter. So how serious are you that you can work for an institution that you are not fully employed? You don't have an employment letter. You don't even have a contract. Because if you, okay, I like that media house, you know, I just want to be with them because, you know, that their name is playing around, that is one of the finest media house. That's not the point. You know, in the media also you have to look at the economic value, because you have your family to take care of. You know, you have your own responsibilities. So some choose to work for some media institutions. Say, no, you're there, no, the volunteer. You understand? But again, if there are complaints, the Reporters Union and the SLAG will institute an investigation on some of those complaints. But all I want to tell you at the moment is the fact that we've gone far, and then the only way the Reporters Union SLAG can take a media institution to court is when we have the bargaining certificate, because that's the law, what the law requires. Otherwise, at the moment, we cannot just sit here and take, for example, we take AYV to court because AYV is not fulfilling its obligation to the staff, especially so implementing the minimum wage. We do have that, but the government can do that.
Let's look a bit at also the human resource. SLAJ is losing its members to other better opportunities. Most or some of the journalists now have veered into other career. Most are now lawyers, and you also have those in public relations role. They've gone on to work for institutions, you know. They've left the newsroom, they've left print, they've left the radio station. Isn't SLAJ concerned that it is losing the best brains of journalists who would have been, you know, people who would stand up to the test of time, who are now probably working for government, for NGOs, or even, you know, vying into other professions?
Well, it is not new. It is not new. This has been ongoing. You know, when I came into journalism in 2000, many of our colleagues, we came together. Along the way, they left for better opportunity. And maybe some of them, they don't consider journalism. They don't have passion for journalism. And for 27 years, I've never worked for government. I've never worked for an NGO. I've never worked for individual. I've never worked for any outside establishment apart of the media. But I'm not trying to be boastful. But the reality is, it's about self-satisfaction. You are doing something that you so loved. You understand? But many of those colleagues that left today, there's not much difference between myself and some of them. And some of them, I can say I'm far better when it comes about.
You might be an exception.
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying this. Look at colleagues that have stayed in the media for far too long. You understand? One, the passion. And number two, number two, they have been able to better their life, better communities. They have been able to create impact in society. Some for economic reasons, and some want faster. You know, they want to make money, and they are desperate in making money. They want to ride the best cars. They want to live flamboyant lives and all that. So they go in for other opportunities, whether contract basis. And some of them, when they go, after 2, 3, or 4, 5 years, you see them coming back again. So it tells you that there's something happening in the media.
Do you think journalism is a lucrative profession in Sierra Leone, to be precise?
It depends the way you view it. It depends. I must say, journalism is passion. Journalism is about conscience. It's about survival. In journalism, you handle the professional aspect of journalism. They also look at the economic aspect of them. You understand? It's just like any other profession. You cannot just depend on your salary you are getting now. You should be able to be creative. You should be able to create wealth for yourself. You should be able to establish businesses outside journalism. You know, so if some colleagues came, they think that, no, the salary I'll be getting now, okay, I'm fine with that. I can tell you that it's better off depending how you plan yourself. And
that begs the question, because if financial sustainability remains a challenge in journalism, even for media owners, it's a challenge. How can a journalist be independent in reporting on especially sensitive issues, wherein whoever is the person in question might have so much money to influence the journalist's report? How can they remain independent?
You mentioned about media poverty just now. And that again, I will align that with professionalism, if you want to be professional. We are living in a country where in the private sector is not investing to the media. AYV is the first private media investments. Somebody coming to invest into the media who is not a journalist, but because he has the conviction that, no, this is a platform I can use to contribute, to create jobs for compatriots, and also to contribute to the growth of the media, he decided to establish the AYV. One of the reasons we have media poverty in Sierra Leone is because private sector is not investing into the media. And one of the reasons for that, because when we had a draconian law, nobody wanted to come even closer to journalists. When Mamelo decided to open the first private individual to open a newsprint for journalists, the case between Paul Kamara and Pakaba, when Paul Kamara wrote an article against Pakaba, the first people who went to arrest was the Mamelo, the one that owns the printing house. She was arrested. She was charged along with Paul Kamara. She was convicted. She served jail term, and after that, she just abandoned the whole place, sell her property, and she left. And because people are afraid to come closer to the media, so nobody wants to invest. Again, our laws, there is no advertising law in Sierra Leone. Government, private, individual, even the companies. Look what is happening now. Nobody is advertising the media. In some countries, it's a law. Government, every bit of advert, you have to ensure that it be advertised through the traditional media. How many mining companies? We have over 200 mining companies in Sierra Leone. How many of them is advertised with AYV? Do you have one or two or three? The answer is no. And because the laws are not there. So what we are doing at the moment, SLICE together with IMC and the Minister of Information, we've just put together a draft. It's now with the Law Officers Department. Once that is enacted by Parliament, it becomes law, it will help all of us. Because that speaks to the fact that if you want to advertise, you have to make use of the traditional media to advertise. So even the private companies and government and individuals, you cannot come to the traditional media and advertise. So the advertisement is what brings money to the media. So if we are not having adverts, whether from government, from private sector, then how do you expect the media to survive? So we are not surviving economically as you expect, because we are not getting the required support from the private sector and even government in terms of advertisement. And more importantly, for government institutions generally, sometimes you advertise for them, and it will take you almost a year before they pay. Before they pay you.
Yes.
In some country, you come with your advert with a check. You understand? You pay before they advertise for you. But in Sierra Leone, that is not the case. And that's the more reason the private sector and the government, ministry, department, and agency, they are killing the media industry. Because as I sit here, I have over 100,000 of advert that I've done for people. But they have not paid me. And so how do you expect my media house to survive? I have to pay salary. I have to pay other things.
Edward, continue with us. Apologies. We have a breaking news from Nyapui Radio, FM 106.1 in Kenema. And this is an urgent press release informing parents and guardians of Nyapui Secondary School of Excellence that there has been another fire incident. And it is reported that at approximately 1:35 a.m. this morning, the school experienced another devastating fire outbreak, and the fire outbreak completely destroyed old classroom blocks which house the examination office, staff common room, ICT laboratory, and 7 classrooms that appeared to have originated in a single classroom before spreading to the rest of the building. And it stated that while significant damages has been sustained, they wish to assure all parents and guardians that all students are safe and remain under the care and supervision of the school. But however, they request all parents and guardians to report to the school 10 a.m. this morning to receive their children and take them home pending further investigations and decision arising from stakeholder engagement. And the school management has decided to temporarily suspend normal classroom or school activities whilst consultation ahead with stakeholders to determine the way forward. So that's the breaking news there from Kenema. Another fire incident happened this morning at around 1:35 a.m. at the Nyapui Secondary School of Excellence.
So Edward, before the breaking news, I wanted to ask, you know, some people do believe that you have media houses or media institutions that seem to be aligned with some political interest. How worried is Large about the seeming erosion of public trust in journalism or journalists generally?
You know, this is not new. Globally, worldwide, it happens.
Okay.
Yeah, in the US, you have some newspapers that align with Democrats or the Republican. If you go to UK, you have some newspapers that are with the Conservative and the Labour Party. You know, in Sierra Leone, we have the APC and the SLPP, that are the two main political parties. You also have journalists that are aligned with those political parties.
What about when
it's something that is not bad. What is bad?
Okay.
You have to make your editorial position very clear. That if you are reporting for a political party, let it be known that you are reporting for that political party and you are promoting the ideology of that political party and you have aligned yourself with that political party. But when you do it in the form of disguise,
do you think we have any media house or media institution in Sierra Leone that has openly aligned itself with any political party?
No, not necessarily.
We don't.
We don't. The only the two political parties, they have their own media houses where
that they are affiliated.
Yes, they have like for SLPP, they have the Unity newspaper, and we have colleagues there who works there. For the Leone, the APC, they have the Leone newspaper. We also have colleagues that works there. What we are saying, we have to be responsible in the way that the way we carried ourselves. And for us as independent journalists, if you are an independent journalist, be an independent journalist. If you want to align yourself with a political party, let it be clear that you are with that political party. Because the reason is, when the APC was in power, we have a good number of our colleagues that aligned themselves with the party because maybe they were promoting the party ideology that when the party wins, it will give them an appointment. And when the party won the elections, about 13 of them were given an appointment. The current administration also, we have also colleagues that align themselves with the current administration. And currently we have over 20 of our colleagues that have been appointed by the current administration. This is something we are not against because it's our own political right to belong. And some of them, they are our members. But all I can say, SLAD does not own media house. We don't own media house. We don't determine the...
So you don't have the authority to give directives or
no,
to
we don't have the authority to direct any media house as well to be broadcast or not. That's the responsibility of the IMC. Every media house has its own editorial policy. AYV has its own editorial policy, SLBC 98.1, and all of those editorial policies are not the same. Even my own newspaper, The Informant, has its own editorial policy that is quite different from Independent Observer or Night Watch or Daybreak or Time Salon. So the individual media house control its own editorial policy. The only authority is the IMC, who regulates its conduct and its behavior. So we don't. What our own primary responsibility is to protect freedom of speech and freedom of expression.
Talking about that, let's talk about the state of press freedom in Sierra Leone today. What would be your fair assessment, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, about the state of press freedom in Sierra Leone at the moment?
I would say relatively we are doing fine. in the sense that as I sit here, there is no journalist in detention across the country. There's no journalist.
But there are the laws that have the tendency.
Yes, I'm coming to that.
To have journalists being
arrested.
arrested.
No, I'm coming to that.
Journalists are not being detained, but they are being arrested.
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
As we speak now, we have a blogger at CID, even though he's not a journalist. No, even though he's not a journalist, but press freedom in itself transcends whether you are a member of SLAJ or not. As long as you're a Sierra Leonean, you should have the freedom to say what you want to say. But he's been held under the side.
We are talking about SLAJ.
Yes.
We are talking about SLAJ. We are talking about SLAJ. Don't take me to bloggers. I'm not. This is something. Sometimes. No, I'm not.
When SLAJ says press freedom, is it not limited to journalists?
I'm coming to that. You're giving me double questions. Let me take it one. Let me take it one after the other. You talk about press freedom. Years gone by. Journalists are always in cell. Tambayo, Philip Neville, Oli Gordon, I.B. Kagbo, Paul Kamara, Mohamed Champion, many of them, he has gone by. But today there's no journalist in cell since the repeal of the seditious libel law.
Is it because SLAJ is begging and appealing to the government to take it slow on journalists?
Yes, I'm coming to that. I'm coming. And currently, we don't have any record or statistics to show that a journalist is in cell anywhere in the country. But having said that, we are worried and concerned in the sense that we repealed the seditious libel law. They brought in the cyber law, which continue now to threaten journalists and freedom of expression, especially so Section 44(2). You know, last year, 2022-2023, our international ranking went high. The recent global press index that was released will fall below expectation for the simple fact that within these 2 years, more journalists have been arrested and detained under cyber law than any law. You understand? And these are things we document on a daily basis. The International Federation of Journalists and then the African Federation of Journalists gets a West African Association of Journalists, WAJA. Every day they call, they check, they want information. Press release that we issue out are being reviewed, investigated. The state of the media reports, we see locally, the MRCU, Media Monitoring Group, Dr. Francis Owen and his team, they have done excellent work. Many of the issues that occurred last year to this year, we have a good number of journalists that were arrested and detained. And when the statistics came out, it had a negative effect on the country. Having made progress, there's also a reverse within a year, and the government should be concerned and they have to do something about it. And that's the more reason we have signed an MOU that any issue now that has to do with journalists, let it be referred to the IMC.
Before you land, let me just ask this question as we round up. Must we pride ourselves in the fact that there's no journalist being detained at the moment, when this could only be the case because journalists have seen others being arrested and detained for things said that they shouldn't be arrested and detained for, and therefore they're now being very cautious. So it's like, because we're now treading cautiously, we're not actually venturing into terrains where we can be arrested and detained by law. So is this something we should pride ourselves in, or should we be even more worried? Because the laws are there, and if I, as a journalist, do a certain thing or say certain things, I'll definitely be arrested and detained. Nothing stops the police or the CID from arresting me. But nobody's been detained at the moment simply because we're not treading into these grounds where we can be arrested and detained. So now that it appears that every other journalist is proud about the fact that there's no journalist being detained, is it about something that is being done? Is it because the laws have been changed and we can still actually report freely and say the things we have to say freely without being arrested? Or it's just because we're being careful?
We are not priding ourselves because of what is happening at the moment. I've made the point very clear that we are worried about the Cyber Act, Crime Act, Section 44(2), which continue to threaten freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And those laws have been used against journalists within these 2 years when journalists were arrested and detained. So we are not celebrating as if all is well. What we are saying, despite the fact that government has made some progress, but there are still challenges, which we are now calling on the government to review the Cyber Security Act of Section 44, and also for governments to give us a standalone chapter. When we have the standalone chapter that speaks to freedom of expression, freedom of speech, obviously you and I will not be talking about Section 44 anymore, because that guarantee
so
our
until
right.
Then we have to be very careful.
Yeah, because when that law comes to when that law comes to being, obviously all of us will celebrate, because freedom of expression and freedom of information is a fundamental right. So we are pushing for that.
So is it
and that's our
concern
appeal.
Isn't Sludge concerned that bloggers are being targeted?
No, we are concerned. I'm not trying to.
If it happened to John, only Temo.
No.
It happened to Johnny Back.
No, let me say this. No, let me say this.
And we shall be approaching.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Let me say this. I'm not saying. I'm not against the bloggers. I'm saying we are trained profession. Journalism is a profession. Like you have the lawyers, you have the doctors, you have the engineers. You understand? We are professionals. You understand? What the bloggers are doing, they are doing citizens journalism. Because you have access to your iPhone, you can go to Shaka Stevens Street. Hey, look how old, and they can kill somebody now. Can you imagine an 8-year-old child has been raped, and somebody will go to his camera and put the camera on her face and say, look, the picking back with a rape. Hey, look what's in there, look with blood. These are things that sometimes when you see them, and when you as a journalist, you know the danger that's been caused, that child will grow up for the rest of her life being stigmatized. So the question now is, we are very much concerned on the cybercrime law, how it's being used by state apparatus, and including citizens. So we have to find a better way to review the act itself that will be more friendly, and at the same time, it will protect the right of citizens. We just finished the data access to information and data protection law. Minister of Information, the Right to Access Information Commission. We just concluded the consultation, went across the country. We've now got the draft nice law with the law officer department. When that law comes to being, obviously, it also help. So in my own view, and also on the view of Sludge, we'll continue to engage government for them to see reason for Section 44 to be amended, because it threatens the right of citizens, it threatens freedom of speech and freedom of expression. No citizens will be arrested for expressing our own opinion.
Journalists are citizens, and it is merely
a citizen.
A time, if the blogger then they're under review right now, don't you think 2028 will be concerns for journalists? Because stories that are shared on media platforms or on print are also taken to social media for popularization. So if I can't get you on the print and electronic, I can take you online.
I speak to that.
So that's my concern.
Yes,
if,
I
if
speak to
slide
that.
they look the
And
blogger they like, because not all journalists them will not I am thinking outside or over the top.
I agree with you.
Even though bloggers are not part of SLAG, but SLAG should be concerned that.
No, we are concerned. No, this is over and over. Recently, I engaged the head of, I think the chairman or the president, they had a senior citizen. What is his name? Joseph Sano. No, we had a very good conversation. And what he wanted us now to collaborate with SLAG so that we can do training for the bloggers. And this we are open up to. We are ready for partnership because at the end of the day, it's for the benefit of the citizens of Sierra Leone. So we are working with them. You know, in terms of protection, it's a responsibility. The primary responsibility of SLAG is to protect freedom of speech and freedom of expression. So if that particular section of the cybercrime law undermines freedom of speech, freedom of expression, it's our responsibility to raise the red flag. And that's what we have done. We have engaged the Attorney General on this. We have engaged senior government functionaries, including the Minister of Information, who is so much passionate about reviewing the law also. So in all of this, just to accommodate everybody. So we are pushing for that. So my own appeal will be to SLAG members and to journalists across the country. Let us be professional. Let us report the fact. Journalists are not judge. You don't have to be the judge. It's not our responsibility for go court case. Our responsibility is to report, right? Bring out the fact. Let the news be credible. Let the news be factual. Responsibility, it carries, that's the ingredient that carries journalism. You know, but so sometimes when some of our colleagues, we will not defend reckless journalism. That's one of the things we continue to stand by. We will not defend reckless journalism, but we will promote responsible journalism.
Edward, finally, as we round off quickly, I will not let you leave without talking about the National Media Award. You know, being part of this year's AGM, what impact, you know, have these awards had on improving journalistic excellence and professionalism?
You know, when we release out the adverts, I thought not many journalists would be interested. But to my greatest surprise, when I was compiling the applications before we submit to the judges, because there is a panel that we established. Some of them we don't have business with them. In fact, they don't sit in our office. They meet somewhere else. They are putting together, and I think today they should be finalizing today. The good thing is the categories themselves, journalists were strongly competing. Human rights, parliamentary reporting, court reporting, agriculture, environmental reporting, gender issues, corruption, and another category, education. All of these were highly competitive. One category, we see over 5-10 journalists competing for one category. And the good news is we've got award and prizes for all those categories now. And it will be a moment of joy for some journalists on that day when they will be called upon that they have won the award. The idea is to encourage journalists to go into specialized area of reporting. Like I mentioned earlier on, journalists should be specialized. You cannot be jumping all over the place. You want to report on corruption, you want to report on health, you want to report on education. Yes, you could do it. But let it be known that you are specialized on this area. When I was a reporter, I was specialized on security reporting, defense reporting. Ask Minister of Defense, ask RSLAF and the police. I go in for serious issues, investigate them, bring them out. So this will encourage them now to be specialized. Some journalists did a very good job. I would say they all did their job. And the judges are finalizing their assessments, the list to be submitted at the AGM. In fact, not even us as executive members, including my president, we don't even know at this point who are the winners. The winners will be announced by the judges themselves when the list will be presented to us at the AGM. So I want to assure everybody that it's going to be, it has been a transparent process. And those judges that are on the panel, we don't doubt their integrity at all, because they've shown to the people of Sierra Leone that says there are people that can be trusted. And so they have done a good job. On the AGM, we're leaving this morning. The boss will be available at Sly Secretariat at 12 noon. And the advanced team left yesterday of some executive members. We are working with the regional executive. A lot has been done. We have put so much time, energy, and resources into this AGM. And I can assure you, McKinney will be on fire in the sense that we'll come together as journalists across the country to socialize and discuss our own welfare. 2 days will be an impactful event, because tomorrow we'll be having the official opening ceremony 9 to 12, and in the afternoon we'll go into our discussions. Then in the evening we'll be having a football match, and then at night we'll be having our bonfire.
Yeah, the slag bonfire is always lit.
Yes, it's one of the events right now. Is moving everybody all over the country.
Mr. Noki missed the slag bonfire.
Yeah, so
yes,
so we get that on Saturday. On Saturday we'll be having the climax of it all. It will be the dinner and the award night, and that again will be something of history making.
All right, thank you very much, Edward Faramara, National Secretary General of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists. I'm afraid this is all we have time for, but before we go, let's take the story now. His Excellency, the President, Julius Maada Bio, yesterday has officially commissioned the Regional Emergency Solar Power Intervention Project resite at Newton Western Rural District. It's a World Bank-backed regional project to rapidly boost grid-connected solar power access across West Africa in a bid to complement Mission 300 and the government's 2030 electricity access target. Yero Jello has more on the story.
Roll upon roll of solar panels stretched across Newton like a sea of mirrors, turning light into joy for a nation hungry for power. The respite project will feed clean energy directly into Sierra Leone's national grid. Officials say it will improve electricity supply in the western area, lower generation costs, and strengthen energy security. The World Bank estimates that access to electricity in Sierra Leone remains among the lowest in the world. Despite recent gains, when President Julius Maada Bio took office in 2018, fewer than 3 in every 10 Sierra Leoneans had access to electricity. Today, the government says that figure is steadily rising as it pursues its target of expanding access to 78% of the population by 2030 under Mission 300.
Mission. A declaration that Sierra Leone is investing in its future. It is a proof that when vision is matched by determination, partnership, leadership, and action, transformation is possible. For me, I don't know for you all, today is a proud day for our nation. We should be proud. I say so, ladies and gentlemen, because I've traveled extensively across Sierra Leone and witnessed for myself firsthand how unreliable electricity affects the daily lives of our people. I've visited schools where students struggle to study after sunset. I've seen healthcare workers striving to save lives under difficult conditions. I've spoken to entrepreneurs and business owners who bear the highest cost of generators to maintain their operations. Those experiences have reinforced a simple truth. Electricity is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It powers opportunities, strengthens livelihoods, drives enterprise, supports innovation, and fuels national development. But for too long, energy poverty has constrained the full potential of our people and indeed our economy. For too long, many Sierra Leoneans have had to adapt to darkness, uncertainty, and inadequate infrastructure. This is a future that we will not accept. So when I can say pauper, this is not the source of my pauper. We will not accept this. Today, Sierra Leone sends a clean and clear message. We are moving forward. We are building an energy future that is cleaner, more reliable, more resilient, and even more inclusive. Ladies and gentlemen, when my government assumed office, fewer than 30% of Sierra Leoneans had access to electricity. Entire communities remained disconnected from the opportunities that reliable power creates. The infrastructure we inherited faced significant constraints, and the sector remained heavily dependent on imported fuel, exposing our economy to external shocks and rising global energy prices. These challenges were rare, but so was our determination to address them. Let me say this, that no nation can modernize, industrialize, create sustainable jobs, or compete effectively in the 21st century without energy. Energy security is not just a simple sectoral priority. This is a national imperative, ladies and gentlemen. Today, while challenges remain, I want every Sierra Leonean to know that this government hears you, understands your concern, and is acting decisively. Across the energy sector, we are undertaking bold reforms and strategic investment to expand access, improve reliability, and build a stronger foundation for future growth. These are not ambitions. These are actions already underway. Ladies and gentlemen, from the outset, my government adopted a clear vision to build an energy-secure Sierra Leone. A Sierra Leone where every home, every school, every health facility, business, and community has access to reliable, affordable, sustainable electricity supply. A Sierra Leone that harnesses its abundant natural resources to power development, strengthen resilience, and accelerate economic growth. That vision continues to guide our actions. The project we are commissioning today represents the largest single addition to renewable energy generation capacity in Sierra Leone's history, as has already been said. They will strengthen our national grid, improve reliability, increase resilience, and expand access to electricity for hundreds of thousands of Sierra Leoneans. But more importantly, they will represent a major milestone in our broader effort to build a modern energy sector capable of supporting the aspirations of our people and the ambition of our nation. The electricity generated by these projects will do more than just power homes. and businesses. It will help preserve medicines in clinic, as has already been said, enable children to study after sunset, support farmers and agro-processors, strengthen small and medium-sized enterprises, and create new opportunities for investment and employment. In short, it will improve lives, expand opportunities, and strengthen the foundation of national development.
Officials described the facility as Sierra Leone's first utility-scale grid-connected solar plant and the largest solar energy installation in the country's history. More than 40,000 households are expected to benefit directly from the project. Excess power generated will also support future expansion across the national network.
Light power will flow through the newly built substation in the back there. You'll all get to see it soon. Injected into the grid at 3 voltage levels: 161 kilovolts, 33 kilovolts, and 11 kilovolts. That is not a detail for engineers that are here, but it means that we can serve industrial loads, we can serve commercial loads, and we can serve household loads from a single clean source at scale. Through that substation, the 5 local adjacent communities will feel this project directly. Newton Village, Katu Town, Bobu 1, Bobu 2, and Babafti. EDSA has developed an outline schedule of works that will ensure that Newton Village already has power from the solar plant, and that the remaining communities will benefit in a phased installation that runs through August of this year. Based on field estimates and EDSA planning data, the electrification program will directly connect an estimated 4,000 households, equivalent to about 24,000 people. And that's just the local people. And many of those people in these communities will gain first-time access to electricity. For Lunge, the plant will connect to the existing substation and therefore provide power to some 20,000 households. So in effect, we'll be serving about 25,000 households from both Newton and Lunge for the first time. These communities that are close by, that don't have electricity, they have waited. Those communities have endured. These communities have kept faith with government's promise, and it is to whom this government is today keeping its word. In Lunge, across the Great Rokel River north from here, we have installed 10 megawatts of solar power, and that power will supplement the existing thermal plant, reducing its operating hours and its fuel appetite. We will also connect in Lunge the PC agriculture onion farm to the grid. And what that does, it will cut its costly captive power generation. It's a win-win situation, isn't it? And in due course, the international airport will be connected as a reliable backup supply, giving the gateway to our country the energy security it deserves. Energy poverty does not respect borders. Neither should our solution. So Respite is an example of how we come together as a region to solve our problems. Beyond Lunge and Newton, I want to acknowledge the flexibility of the bank in facilitating other energy projects. Surplus funds, I want everyone to know this, that surplus funds from the efficient procurement of Respite will facilitate 2 other significant projects. One, a 2 megawatt solar generation project, battery backup for Njala University. And 2, the civil works for the release by Scatec project, a 40 megawatt solar farm to be built in Kamakwe. To our EPC contractors, Tibia, thank you very much. And all those who built what we are commissioning today, the engineers, the site crews, the logistics teams, the project lives in the cables you pulled and the panels out there that you mounted. Your work is now part of Sierra Leone's infrastructure heritage.
For residents of Koya Chiefdom, the project is more than steel, cables and glass. It is sunrise after a long night. Paramount Chief Baikompa Bomboli III urged communities to protect the facility and guard against vandalism.
A new era of light and progress. For decades, Mr. President, the Newton community has waited for the opportunity. Today is a new dawn for us. The chain of poverty, to a very large extent, is almost coming to an end. Solar power infrastructure is not just a collective collection of panels and wires. It is a direct investment into their dignity, safety, and tenure. But what benefit will it bring to our community? Enhance education. When once we have lights, the young, the children, at least can read, write, and for the whole of that night, learn and study until the wee hours without a blink of the light we're talking about. It will improve our healthcare. Our local clinic can safely provide life-saving medicines and can provide services under reliable lights. Community security, main pathway, and market squares will be eliminated, drastically reducing crime and safety hazards. But the second, safeguarding the collective means of wealth. Let me use this opportunity through Madam Chair. I want to use the local dialect to reach my people. Do ya now in through your own best? May we own this project? What do I mean by may we own this project? Vandalism, theft of batteries, and destruction of solar panels should not be tolerated. Now, may you too for all these projects. Maintain can you see somebody to go to battery, and not in business and government property. But now, may you too in our government. Let us take that opportunity as community leaders. Anyone caught sabotaging this facility should face the full weight of both traditional laws and national justice.
For years, communities here depend on fuel stations or wells without power. This plant feeds directly into the 30 kV line, bringing stable electricity to Newton. This is one step towards the government's goal of 78% electricity access by 2030.
Across 4 West African countries, Respite aims to deliver 106 megawatts of solar energy and battery storage while strengthening regional power connections through the West African Power Pool. For Sierra Leone, the message from Newton is clear. The future is no longer waiting on horizon. It has been switched on, and soon the bulbs will never wink. Yero Jalo, AYV News Freetown.
You're still watching or listening to Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV television and radio. Don't forget to send in your comments and ask your questions to the AYV News Facebook page. Next to education. President Julius Maada Bio has expressed concern over the growing challenge of examination malpractice in Sierra Leone, stating that parents, school authorities, and even examination administrators all have a role to play in addressing the issue. The President Bio noted that the culture of cheating in public examinations has become a serious concern, with various stakeholders contributing directly or indirectly to the problem. The President highlighted reports that some parents are paying substantial amounts of money for so-called camp classes organized ahead of public examinations, a practice that has come under scrutiny amid concerns about unfair academic advantages and examination irregularities. He stressed the need for a collective effort to restore integrity and credibility to the country's education system, emphasizing that examination success should be based on merit, hard work, and quality teaching rather than malpractice. This morning we shall be discussing ways to improve quality in the education sector. In the studio we have Alfonso Mali, National Coordinator, Civil Rights Coalition, and Abraham Nicholas Kamara, Digital Entrepreneurship Coach and Mentor, also a lecturer at IPAM University of Sierra Leone. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Wake Up Sierra Leone.
Yeah, good morning.
Well, Alfonso, you've all listened to the cue. Of course, the president says teachers, examination bodies, and of course parents are undermining academic integrity. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, of course, I agree with the president, but in some of the programs I have spoken on this issue, I clearly made mention that not all of the perpetrators were mentioned by the president. If you do a voice pop, you talk to parents, you talk to pupils, you will also know that the security apparatus, some of them are involved in this area of malpractice, especially with regards to the WAS. Wherein yesterday I was in one of your sister programs, a clip was played, wherein the pupils was alleging that they are paying 100 loans per paper, and this money is being shared among those who are in the hall. And part of those who are in the hall, you have police officers, WAEC officers, some of them are from the ministries, supervisors who come from CPSS. So it's all of them, so the president is correct. But why examination malpractice is continuing, because we have not preferred tangent solution. We just discussed here, there is examination malpractice, it will not solve the problem. What will solve the problem is what we want to discuss. You know, in Creole, they say, who say you buck your foot, who say you go for the no look, they look who say you buck your foot. So where are we getting all of this wrong? It is an area that is not being discussed. When we discuss this area, then I believe the Ministry of Education and all other stakeholders will tend to prefer solution to this. And this is what I want to discuss. In education, you have what is called education measurement and evaluation. Measurements have to deal with the figures. For instance, if you say Abubakar scored 89 in mathematics, you have measured him, he scores 89. How do you evaluate Abubakar? Abubakar have an excellent grade in mathematics. You have evaluate Abubakar. Now, in measurement and evaluation, you have what is called the formative evaluation and the summative evaluation. The formative evaluation takes place during the instructional program, your normal test, your term exam, right? And the summative is the end of the program. Well, the NPSC, the Becker, and the WAS. And in achieving this, you must have a structured test and testing method in school. And this is where we are getting it wrong. In school, from one pupils, when you are given assignments, you are required to return the assignment with 30 loans, 20 loans, 15 loans. Based on the amount you return the assignment with, that determines your grade. For instance, if you return the assignment with 15 loans, it's 70. With 20 loans, it's 80. So that makes the child become lazy. And that is not a way of assessing the child to go into an examination without cheating. That's one. Secondly, you have series of methods how a teacher assess a pupil. Then you know that this pupil is actually making progress in the learning process. You have what is called the test-retest method. That method, you give a test to a pupils of the same type twice with a long interval. This same test I give you today, after 3 weeks I give you the same test. I collect your grade. You know, by using the Pearson ranking correlation coefficient method. Once that's done, I will know that whether you are retaining what you are learning, or whether you cheat the first test and this you do not cheat. Perhaps the first test you score 80 and this you score 20, the same test within a long period. Then you begin to know something happened. You can also use the parallel method of testing. You can also use the split half method of testing. You have what is called the Coutin and Richardson method of testing. These methods are not being applied in school. Another thing that is happening again in the school is the quality of leadership we have in the school. School leadership quality. You have principal in school, for the rest of the day they sit in their office. Whether this teacher have a lesson plan, makes lesson notes, have a scheme of work, and is au fait with the syllabus, the principal is not concerned. You go to some school, they don't teach with lesson plan, teacher don't make lesson notes, they don't have a scheme of work. But there are schools who maintain these standards. So that makes the pupils become lazy. That makes it is difficult for you to measure and evaluate a pupil. So what happens next? So when the pupils want to pass an examination that we call summative examination, like the NPSC, the Becker, the WAS, they resolve to cheat it because A, they not au fait with the syllabus, you did not complete the syllabus, you have not tested them to assess their performance, to know whether they are fit to sit those exams. All what you have been doing, pay and pass. Pay and pass. You show them the question that they expect to see in your test. You show them the question that they expect to see in end of year examination. So when they want to attempt Becker, they will go in for you, say, do you know the question? How can I get this question? In some cases, some teachers lie. Say, yes, we have the question. We will send those questions. When the child is in examination, it's contrary to the question you have given them. So what happened? They will contribute for the police, for the supervisor, for the invigilator, for those who coming from the ministry, for you to sit, whether an open book exam or whether with your phones. And that's contrary to examination principle. For example, you have what is called collusion in examination. For instance, if in some centers they delay the examination by 1 hour, they go and answer all of the questions, send them to their phones. ACC have all of these evidences and part of that committee. They will send the answer. Maybe you answer the same pattern, question 1, 7, 9, 10, 12. The same answer, same pattern, same mistake. When they pick it up with their scanner, it's called collusion. In the examination, part of their rules and examination, if you are caught with a phone, your entire paper will be seized. So the examination malpractice have eaten into the fabric of the education system. So there is no, because President ended it up with quality teaching and learning. Where we have quality teaching and learning, I believe both of you, Matia and you've gone through that process. You know, Matia, when they were called to the bar, he was given an award for excellence performance. Had it been he have been paying for grades, he would not have come out as an excellent student. But he was subjected to such a principle of testing him, assessing him, evaluating him, measuring him. And this is lacking in most government and government-assisted schools. And secondly, the quest for examination malpractice, most schools want to show themselves, especially private schools. Because when you want more pupils to gain admission in your schools, they have, well, this is now in the open. It is alleging that they pay WAEC for better grades. So they say, yes, this school came first. So parents will eager to send their kids to that school, say they are performing better than this other school. We have hearing of all of this allegation. Another thing
do you have evidence of
that? That's why I say allegation.
Okay.
So if I have evidence, I will point directly. But say we are hearing of all of these allegations. And one of the meetings I attended in ACC with all our education stakeholders, ACC have WAEC staff that they are on the run. They are on their wanted. Yes, because of these issues, right? So in the school, in the ministry, is another problem. In the ministry, you have what is called Teaching Service Commission. They deal with teacher, they manage teacher, they transfer teacher, they employ teacher. They are doing well, but they do not have the capacity to ensure that this teacher they employed perform in school.
Alfonso, what would you say government has encouraged this malpractice we see? you can vividly remember in 2018 when Francis Benkaifala took over as the ACC commissioner, albeit it was illegal and humiliating, but he paraded teachers who were involved in examination malpractices at Cotton Tree, and he was backwashed. Even the president had to call him to order, you know, and now the president is here, you know, 7 or 8 years down the line, calling on examination malpractice. Isn't it hypocritical?
Yeah, so in implementing the law, when somebody is not found guilty, it is only the court of law that have the locus to say, even though you are caught, they have the right to say you are guilty or not. Yes, you presume innocent. So at that point when teachers were caught, they were never taken to the court system for the court to say, yes, ACC, present your evidence. And when your evidence is being presented, so people are saying, well, ministers have been caught. Why not take them to court in Tree likewise? Other people have been caught. You know, teacher, they will always have this passion, because all of us sitting here is because of teacher. So you treat my teacher anyhow, whether you are now in the financial sector, you are now a lawyer, you are now, they will raise concern to say, Mr. Kamara, I know he's been humiliated. But had it been they were taken to court, court will not handed over a punishment or handed down a punishment to say, come and put them and display them at the cutting tree. You know. But again, the act tell them fight corruption in all sorts of means. But be it as it's made, based on the outcry of the public, they apologize and people appreciated that. But the ministry, as I'm talking, they have SQUAMS officers who go to school to monitor. Right. Before now, they were called inspectors of schools. When inspector of school go to the classroom, they use observation as a method to assess a teacher. They will sit at the back, they will look at the pedagogy. This is the method used to teach. They will look at teacher-pupils interaction. They will look at the mode in which you are teaching these pupils, and you've been assessed. Now that department is under the Ministry of Education. When you have the TSC who employ those teachers, who train them in terms of professional standard development, who gives them license to go and teach, who do you think should assess them in the classroom? Is it not the Teaching Service Commission who deal with teacher? But that, yesterday I told the minister, we are in one program, I said, Minister, I think this SQO should be under the Teaching Service Commission. You have been there. Who assess teacher? It should be them. And when they have problem in terms of assessment, they come to you as a ministry to formulate some kind of policy that will help them to better assess teachers. So I believe all of these are lacking. The ministry does not have the requisite support, not the qualification, the requisite resources to monitor school. We have about 400 SQA officers. We have about over 13,000 schools. They have cluster schools. Some of them don't have bikes. Some of them don't have computers. They don't have dashboard, in the sense that, like I believe for AYV, you have a WhatsApp group. When somebody goes out, report to that forum. They know at this time, Matthias is doing XYZ. Matthias is reporting this story. The ministry don't have those facilities. So somebody from Kailaum will have a very vital information to send to the ministry. Maybe it's a kind of real-time information. They need prompt action from the ministry. How do you filter those information to the ministry and get the ministry to act on it? So we believe the solution is lacking, and if we focus on the solution, quality teaching and learning, the method of assessment, the method of measurement and evaluating the people, if we get it right, he's sitting here as a lecturer, if we get it right, we can curb malpractice, because there will be no way a child will go to his parents to say, give me phone, because he gets an aid. You have been assessed. You are fit for purpose for the examination. But if you have not been assessed, no testing method, and you send them to examination, they will cheat.
Nicholas,
yes.
For us in this country, as a society, has society placed too much emphasis on certificates rather than knowledge and skill? Is that why we are seeing this urge, this need? You know, I can vividly remember in the early 2000s, you know, for you to have a degree was a big achievement. Now it seems as if the degree don't feel worse. Now every young person wants to have a master's, wants to have a PhD. Is it that we are placing emphasis on certificate rather than knowledge and skills, and as such, you know, children want to overperform in these exams, will result in this, you know, examination malpractice?
Thank you so much, Alfonso. You have already laid a very good foundation for us all, and I hope that all to listen very well and apply, because we have been saying this for over 5 years. going out to this one, certification, ambition has become the odds of all of this. The anxiety and the spirit of owning a degree without merit and substance is the foundation, and that's the root cause of all of this. Let me divert a little bit from my brother here. One of the other causes that I find out on the research for the past 2 to 3 years is the premature entry of candidates. When you look at the age of people who are taking NPSC, Beke, WAS, you have to ask yourself, where have you been? In our tenor, the earliest for you to cross to WAS is about 19 to 20 something. But now you have a WAS candidate who will tell you I'm 15. So what magic did that child pass through? And we are still using that the 6344. I mean the 633. So the entry premature and the anxiety of parents. They forgetting that we are living in a generation that covered Gen Z, the microwaves. One of the things we find out again, because of that, the exposure of technology and other digital tools in the hands of these skilled people, they have the ability to speak, but the issue of memorizing, like what Alfonso was saying, that comes in certification and that's knowledge. People, because my child can speak very well, when I was in secondary school, I could not speak a better English. But when I was transited to university and now being a professional. So no parent just anchor on the fluency of their kids, forgetting that it's not about speaking, not about certificate, but the ability to interpret. That is education. To interpret what you have been taught, what you have been mentioned, what you have been evaluated, backed up by what we call societal influence, community influence, compounded with the passion of parents, using their just that one icon. Nicholas Ipiki, they speak very good English. And when they go to public lectures or this symposium, family day, all this day, that's why they unpicked few students. They use them as a pioneer. So that's another big issue. So the certification anchor, leaving the testosterone, the pathology, the passion, the willpower from teachers, and the ability of teachers to deliver. Let me give you another shocking thing. When I did the research at Fazu, most of the private school I was accessing, then I was asking them, do you attend any private school from the private school to date? Out of 100 schools we attended, less than 10% that we find out teachers who went through private school, who are now private school teachers. So the myth of the theory now is most of these government-assisted school teachers, school peoples, are now the teachers in these top-notch private schools. And these are the private schools are the death trap.
Yeah, which means...
Like what Alfonso was saying, as allegations have proven that private school teachers and proprietors, owners, go the extra so that their school can be surfaced at best, as opposed to our own tenor. They have to go the hard way. You, the students, have to know that I'm writing an exams. In my community, I have people who are writing words. I keep on asking, what to? No, I don't sit English to I can imagine my own tenor. 1 week suffering of preparing for words, for English and mathematics, because since I was a small boy from Beckett, I heard that my elder sister and cousins start to work more than 4 times to get English and mathematics. So it's a whole fear and threat. Those boys are sitting there playing Boshkidi, this, that. I said, that was Monday. I said, what do you have English? They say next to me. I said, what? So the environment has given them a base. When I said, we get system. We have a platform. So the society, the environment, and the parents. For me, government has a blame, because whatever is after God is government. But the issue of that standards and substandard that is hitting us, and my fear is, now South Africa has started raising the bar. Let foreigners go. Like I said, I'm a lecturer. I'm handling 2 difficult industries, which is lecturing and entrepreneurship. Matia and my sister, we have technical issues in this country. We have to hire people from Ghana and Nigeria to fix our machines. Then I was engaged in research 2024 to date that we have, unfortunately, do you know that we have 65,500 graduates from diploma to masters who are roaming the cities of Sierra Leone without having a job? Then I asked myself, when I have a boss, I will not come to God. They hired somebody to install a machine, a printing machine. I said, wait, why can't we think of that forming an academy so that these skills will be retained? Because we have people who are here roaming about their certificate, but they don't have these skills mismatch. It's in the way they are just starting. So the issue of mismatch of skills and labor has compounded into the classroom also. I saw somebody posted in his Facebook, one of these politicians, I don't know whether it's a real data, the mismatch of the teacher percentage ratio between the students and the teachers in the classroom, from private schools to government assisted schools to government schools, is another cause of Allah. Imagine I have somebody, when I went to the provinces on the Richard, I like Richard, because when I come into the media, I'm not talking politics, because what is affecting now education is in a crisis. And thank God the first man in this country have already raised a concern. But I want to say it's too late. We are on a crisis that emergency meetings must be handled and identify the cause and corruption. If not, we might have successor in handling all of the works of life. From the teaching, like I said, the meat of everything. I want to give that to my brother again because it's deep into this. 60% of private school teachers are not private school students before. They have been away from our same school. Teaching assistant schools or government assistant schools to government schools. They are now champions at private schools that we are paying for our kids millions of loans. What you don't have, you cannot give. That's why we are still having that issue out of passing at London GCO levels, and these all foreign exams. Only few private schools able to handle it because the culture have eaten the fabric of it. Coming again, another issue that is eroding the standards that we are all suffering. And my worry is who can substitute this generation. We talk about the mismatch of skills and the mismatch of teachers' ratio in classroom. Could you believe that there is a class that's one teacher in WAS? A class of WAS having over 100 students in one classroom. Then two teachers, and almost some teachers are teaching math, English, chemistry,
science,
biology.
Yes.
Hey bro, when you ask the proprietor, they say we are having that slow subsidy, so we utilize the jet that we have.
What should be the way forward?
The way forward is government has to reinvest and monitor, because sometimes you can put your money, but if you don't monitor and investigate and follow up for the impact, you might not get the results. So it's about reinvestment and taking the teachers as the foundation of success. But what we are seeing, not only this parent government, most of governments we are seeing that we have lip showers. I always say we are talking about lip showers. People propagate. We speak big English, but we don't go down the roots. How do we handle it? Prioritize the teacher. If a teacher is well paid, a teacher is well given that condition of service, a teacher is being monitored, and his salary is compared to somebody who is working at Ministry of Foreign Affairs, his salary is being compared to somebody who is a chartered accountant. The teacher is one who train all of us here, but they are the most neglected people. They are the most neglected service handling. Have you heard about, we are being this, have you heard about the teacher's wardrobe and the fear bonus? Did the teacher have all of this? But we that are working in professional levels, we have at end of year wardrobe. You see, when they recruit as a manager, they dress you up. When the school teacher has been dressed up, giving them an allowance of at wardrobe. A common banker and Nigerian banks, when they recruit new marketers, they give them wardrobe allowance to change their life. So if we inject those spirits in the classrooms, we might not have mediocres handling our future generation. If we invest into these classrooms, making the classroom to be like that's the epitome, that's the foundation of all what we have been facing now. Then we'll get the results.
Alfonso, as we round off, now you stated that the problem is everywhere. You know, the pupils themselves, the schools, the teachers, the principals, everyone. So it's a system now.
It's a systemic.
If you have the opportunity to advise the president, who campaigned judiciously in 2018 on the backs of free quality education, with his statement like this, he's now questioning the quality. You know, examination malpractice speaks to the quality of education that we have. If you are to advise him, what would you recommend to improve the educational quality and eliminate malpractice?
One, to deal with the issues of teachers. We have a lot of teachers in the classroom without PIN code. That's one. We have a lot of teachers, they are teaching subject that is not their competence. For instance, when we have this new syllabus, the issue of civic education, the TTIs, the teacher training institution, have not trained teachers to teach civic. What they did in those institutions is social studies. So you're now having those social studies teachers. Two, teachers' salary. The issues of teacher salary is appalling. Teachers live in those remote areas. Teachers cannot afford better housing within the CBD. So you find out teacher who teaches at the government model will have to come from Allentown, Wakeup, Waterloo and beyond. Considering the cost of transportation, we do not have buses for teachers. And that's an emergency. Another thing that is supposed to happen within the school, government should ensure they provide regular training through the Teaching Service Commission for teachers. You have what is called pre-service training. That is before you enter the service. You train at the colleges where you have your certificates, and now you sit the teacher licensure exam. Just as you, when you finish at Fabe College, you are not a lawyer, except you went through the bar, you sat to the bar exam, they call you to the bar. So it's the same now for teachers. You have to sit that exam. So that the Teaching Service Commission should be strengthened for refreshers training. And you must have subject departments, whether it's their association. For instance, at the end of the school year, all mathematics teachers will come together. A particular teacher will tell you, I have a problem in algebra. Among your colleagues teachers, they will give you the technique to teach. Because what happens in school, they don't complete syllabus. They skip certain critical topics. Because, yes, the teachers themselves and pupils are complaining. And you have a clever teacher who say, yes, this topic have not been dealt with. Attend my private lesson. Once that private lesson teach this kind of topic, the pupils will no longer concentrate in school. So the president must focus on the welfare of teacher. Must focus in supplying regular supply of teaching and learning materials in school. Most of these teachers do not affect with the new syllabus. They don't know it. We have schools without mathematics teacher. We have schools without English teachers at worst level. And these are core subjects you need to pass before you gain entrance in the university. Well, whether you want to study economics, mathematics, English and languages are core subjects. Also, strengthen teacher training institution. A lot of teachers are complaining about the distance learning education program. A lot of them. It has watered down the system. A lot of them are complaining. So I'm thinking, get colleges to focus on teacher training and decentralize those courses. Don't make it distance. Decentralize. So you can say, for instance, if this school is a single shift, after, by 1-2, yes, you bring in technical and higher education to come in. Use those facilities so you don't have distance, Maybe you come in from York. You have to go all the way for teacher training. So what you will do? You will just enroll in the distance learning. But if you use a school in York, you use a school in Jonobe, you have this kind of makeshift arrangement for you to train teachers. Also encourage teachers to go for refreshers course. Some of them teachers and from where they get HTC 1989 still get let me just read the answer. Yes, so I just want to impact last part of the solution. In the Ministry of Basic Education, they have the responsibility to monitor. They are constrained, resources not there for let them monitor. They have a staff without vehicle. They have staff without equipment to do the work. How can they monitor? So the ministry in itself, they are constrained. This 22%, because that's the defense, is for all lecturer salaries, all teacher salaries, all money government pay for school feeding, all what they spend in the education sector. So not only for the basic education, it's for the entire education sector. And now we have the
Michael. Today they pay me money. I don't send it for let you help me send money in Ghana. 2 weeks now, you know, send me money and then you know give back me money. Today, give me money.
You know, ever sabi goodness in life. I send back him money, but trust me, today na the very last day. I ever send money for now.
I don't need your help because I don't know so with African money. Are they able to send money? Now, go Africa countries them with African money. Would they able to send money to over 10 African countries, whether it's Ghana, Gambia, Liberia, or Kenya? If me party, you know this. We not forget the party Ghana right now.
Okay, we not go regret. I mean, now me not regret. We not go regret.
The best part right now, Michael, with African money.
Feels good to see your face again. It's been a very crazy day. The joyous feeling in the air when rain falls on a sunny day. Happy, yeah. Let the stars, let the roll.
Enjoy life's little pleasures with Maltina. Maltina. Share happiness.
Are you spending over your budget while fixing your car? Well, I'm here at the Solution Center. Welcome to Bridgestone. Come with me and let me walk you through.
Welcome to the place where your problems meet their solutions. We offer you that tire, that vehicle or mechanics to its rightful place. Introducing Bridgestone tire, world-class tire made of carbon thread compound with strong reinforcement no matter the weather. Bridgestone tire lives on. When you use Bridgestone tire, you need not worry about the destination because